Welcome everyone to We Do Pay It Forward. I'm so excited for you to hear from my amazing guest, Christine Dagenais. She's the founder, CEO, corporate executive turned entrepreneur known for reimagining the world by unlocking leadership. Can't wait to get started. Welcome. I'm Milena and this is We Do Pay It Forward. Thank you, Christine, for joining me. You have an amazing story. You were working in the corporate world and then you took your gifts and knowledge and created your own company. What is one great story that you can tell aspiring entrepreneurs who are in the corporate world or who are just wanting to start? How did you make that transition and shift into the entrepreneurial life?
Thanks so much for that question, Milena, and thanks for bringing light to that experience. I did have a really unique opportunity, I would say, that I created for myself for sure in my career, where I had a thriving career as a leader in a very wonderful organization, many organizations actually. And then I made the decision to scale the impact that I knew was possible with this work. And it wasn't an easy decision. I didn't take it lightly. And I'll tell you, I've never looked back. Grateful for the experience I had in the corporate world, but haven't looked back. And there were many lessons learned along the way. And I think one is, to really realize that what you do in your career, that you can do so much more of it and you can scale the impact that you have if you surround yourself by others who are equally as passionate about what you do. And I remember when I used to run the leadership development and the talent strategies for these big Fortune 500 companies, I would be honestly very often the one pushing the agenda forward, almost like pushing a ball uphill. And I went, these organizations want to develop their people. And it takes a long time in some circumstances to get through to the top of the house if you're not already at the table. And so I knew if I were able to go externally, build a team of people around me, that I'd be able to actually make an impact a lot faster. And so that's what I did. I built a team, and not without trials and tribulations for sure. But what we're able to do now as a team of 15 people at Brightwire is exponential in terms of what I could accomplish internally within one company. So yeah, a lot of great lessons learned along the way for sure.
Oh, I love that. And I can imagine, you've been in business for over 10 years. What would you say is one of the struggles that you went through that made you more successful now?
Yeah, it's a wonderful problem to have, and it's keeping up with that high quality growth. And when I say quality, to me that means meaningful work. And so in this space, you're always building relationships and you're building trust with people. So we do leadership development, professional coaching, and leadership development programs, as you know. And so what that means is often people are coming to us with the greatest degree of problems and challenges. And we're always really listening for, why do companies and teams and individuals want to invest in their development? And what is the reason? And it's challenging because sometimes people want to develop people because somebody else told them they should, because their leader said, if you don't get better, we're not going to have a job for you, or because, of a scarcity mindset during a recession, or the opposite, where sometimes companies have budget remaining and they want to just blow it out before they get into a new fiscal year. And those four reasons are generally not the best reasons to want to develop your people. So when we're growing quickly and the industry is trailblazing and we're doing great things to lead in our space, we're getting a lot of inquiries, and we have to filter them to really learn who wants to invest in developing their people for the right reasons. And the right reasons being like sustainable reasons that therefore when they partner with us at Brightwire, the work that we do will be long lasting, will drive results over time versus being short-lived and something that meets like a budgetary goal, right? So
I love that.
Yeah, it's a really interesting challenge. It's one that we didn't quite anticipate in terms of the growth, because we are getting a lot of inquiries. So they're generally coming to us with great rationale.
Wonderful. I know one of the struggles I had when I acquired my company and I was going through the growing pains is I always thought, I have an amazing culture.
Right.
And I was so mistaken. And that was one struggle that I had to go through, was building and creating the culture that I wanted within my organization.
Yes.
Was there a struggle in your organization as you were growing your team that you went through that could be a learning for another entrepreneur?
Yeah, it's such a great question, Milena. So we've actually won awards for what we've done in building the culture in the business at Brightwire, because it's actually really unique. So there's 15 of us, and so this is interesting for entrepreneurs thinking, how do you shape your business, right? How do you grow it? How many employees should you have versus contractors? How variable do you keep your labor expenses, etc.? I spent a lot of time thinking about that. And so my job as the CEO and as the founder of this business is to wrap my arms around the best talent in the space and to create an environment in the workplace where they can collaborate with others who are as good as them, if not better, to elevate our game collectively in a way that they can't do anywhere else. And so that's what I've done. And is it challenging? It takes a long time, but that's because I care to get it really right. So in recruitment, for example, it's questions around, all right, so here's the culture we have at Brightwire. Here's the discretionary effort that we don't even have to expect because people just want to give it.
Love that.
Right? Because we have an environment where people can achieve something greater than they can on their own. So yeah, it's an interesting model, subcontractor and employee mix, and a lot of thinking around building that culture that really works.
I love that. And it's, you know what, all of this goes into my next question. What are you looking forward to as what's out there next for Brightwire, or as you as a leader?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. Oh, it's so great. So I'll answer the question about Brightwire first, which goes really in parallel to my development as the CEO of the organization as well. So I'm so excited. We are trailblazing in our space, as I've already mentioned, and we're actually building our own hybrid equipped, innovative, bright, sophisticated, beautiful, I love it so much, in-person learning forum right downtown Calgary. And this is really unique, and our office with our Brightwire team will be in the same floor, and we're in a very nice building downtown. But what's unique about that is we are creating a space for leaders, leadership teams, and organizations to come together to have the conversations that are really important to them. And they don't always want to go to Banff anymore or Lake Louise or whatever. Sure, those places are lovely, and they take people away from their families, which post-pandemic we've really realized, we don't want more of that necessarily. So I'm excited to be one of the only firms doing what we do that has a really beautiful space that's conducive to leaders and teams having meaningful conversations that drive their business forward. So that's what I'm most excited about in this moment. And I'm getting the keys to the office tomorrow, so there's some recency bias embedded in that response. So yeah, that's the business. But should I tell you a little bit about my growth in there?
I would love to hear that, of course.
Right? So it ties into the challenge question as well. As many entrepreneurs can relate, how do we work in our businesses versus or on them versus in them, right? And especially because we love what we do so much. When you're passionate about what you do, it's so difficult to not want to do that every day.
I agree.
I know you can relate. We've talked about this so many times, right? So that's really been my goal, is finding my passion in the development of my team and continuing to work with them to ensure that high quality service and innovative solution that we provide to every organization and partner that we are able to work with. And so that's sort of how I've been elevating my role, doing less of the individual one-on-one coaching. I still do that work selectively. I'm not actually at the front of room facilitating very much anymore, but I'm supporting my team in doing that. And then as I am able to do less of the work and more of the leadership, I'm also just spending more time with our great clients, helping them think big and broad about their people development strategies so that they are equipped with the leadership skills that they need to successfully execute on their future. And I mean, often companies don't think about that, and that's a space that I get to play in every day, for which I'm so very grateful and so excited about. Like, as you can tell, I just love this stuff.
You're radiating. I
So
can see
good.
that. It's such an exciting time. So I have one question left.
Okay, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it.
And everybody would want to hear this. Who inspired you to become an entrepreneur?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so the singular who, there's so many people that have influenced me in my career that I'm so very grateful for and spent a lot of time thinking about. That said, if I do go back to my roots of entrepreneurs, and both of my parents were entrepreneurs, so it's quite funny, I actually ended up in the corporate world for as long as I did. I'm surprised I was able to stay there for that long, actually. And both of my mother and my father were entrepreneurs who,
Wow.
yeah, they were just really exceptional in their fields. And it really started for me actually with my grandfather. And I remember being very, very young, 5, 6 years old, in the garage with my dad and his dad, my grandfather, looking at all these patents. He was an inventor, and we had all these patents, drawings, back in the early 80s with like handwritten notes all over them. And he actually invented a piece of equipment that still exists today in the forestry industry that was used to properly extract trees from the soil so that they could grow back after they were replanted more successfully. And I remember, the patent and the invention aside, I remember the trials and tribulations that he had. And there was one point when somebody from a different country stole his patent, and there were fake products going on, and it was lawsuit after lawsuit. And I remember seeing my grandfather so passionate about his cause and absolutely committed to seeing it through, to get the credit that him and his team deserved, and to be able to have their names on the patent. And just that tenacity that was required to be successful as an entrepreneur, I knew right away at a young age, I wanted to be like that. I wanted to be like that, and I appreciate the skill sets required for entrepreneurs to be successful. So that's where I would say would be one of my most inspirational moments to entrepreneurs. I'm back in the early day in the garage with my grandfather, and his patents rolled out all over the floor.
Oh my God, that's such an amazing story. Thank you so much, Christine. This has been absolutely incredible. I know as a leader and entrepreneur, you gave some amazing tips, and I think our audience are going to appreciate it.
Nice.
Where can they get a hold of you could be leadership development and how they can unlock their leadership?
Yeah, thanks very much, Milena. At Brightwire, we stand for Reimagining the World by Unlocking Leadership. And people can find us at our website at www.brightwireleadership.com, or follow us on LinkedIn at Brightwire Leadership. Look forward to seeing everyone there, and thank you very much for having me today.
Thanks so much for being here,
Thank
Christine.
you.
Thanks again to our sponsor, Enta Solutions, for paying it forward and supporting women leaders and entrepreneurs. If you're inspired and want to join the We Do community, then go on WeDoCanada.com and also nominate and sponsor the next inspirational woman.